Okay, you guys, I am so excited to talk about charting with you all tonight. So we are going to start off by talking about the Ruby chart, and we're going to build all the way till diamond. So if you are new and watching this for the very first time and you're new to the business, congratulations, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. And if you've been doing this for a while, this is a great refresher for you, whether you're going after Ruby, Emerald, or Diamond, or beyond. And the goal of this call is to really break down, what needs to happen, all of the nitty gritty things that need to happen in order to promote to Ruby and above, and for you to see that our business builds upon Rubies. And Ruby is, the foundation of our business, and it builds upon that chart. And so we're going to start there. If you are new and your focus is Ruby, feel free after we finish at Ruby to stop watching and come back to this, recording later if you feel like that's where you need to stop. And if you want to keep going and you want to keep watching, that's great. That way you're going Ruby, but then you're moving on to Emerald and Diamond, okay? So first thing first. So in order to go Ruby, Ruby is technically the second rank in our company, but really in my mind, it's the first rank. It's your first goal in the company and as far as ranks go. So the average earnings of a Ruby, as you see here, are $474 a month. That's an average. That's not an absolute, but that is an average. Some people make more than that. Some people make less than that. And then requirements for going Ruby: 3 qualified legs and 2,000 in total group volume. And then it talks about the earnings and the percentage of earnings on the levels. So you are this red dot here, okay? Don't know why it's showing that red streak. But anyways, okay. You are the red dot. And is somebody else trying to write on this? Because that's not helpful. Okay. So you're the red dot. And then your 3 qualified legs, these boxes stand for lives that you're going to change. 3 people's lives that you're going to change. But before we get to that, I want to make sure that everyone understands that you need 6 personally enrolled LCs. And that's 6 personally enrolled customers. So 6 LCs, we're going to put right up here. Sorry, my writing is large. Okay, so you are going to personally enroll 6 loyal customers on your website in your first 30 days, because that's going to get you your $150 shopping spree. Okay, and then your next focus is enrolling 3 distributors, changing 3 people's lives, right? And so those lives, those people are going to go in those boxes. So I'm going to use examples of people that are on the call just for fun. So first person, I'm going to say, I joined the business. I signed my first 6 loyal customers in my first 30 days. I earned that $150 shopping spree. And I've got my eyes on Ruby because I know that extra $474 a month is going to help me pay down debt. And so I asked my best friend, Jessica, and Jessica joined the business with me. And so Jessica's goal is going to be the same as mine when I first started. Her goal is going to be to sign 6 loyal customers. So she's going to sign 6 loyal customers. And then she's also going to focus on Ruby. So then the next person that I sign up is my friend Liz. Liz and I went to high school together, and I'm going to coach her on signing up her 6 loyal customers so that she gets her $150 shopping spree. And then she will also move to the focus of Ruby and doing the same thing you're doing. And so then next, my third life that I'm changing, third person that I'm helping, her name is Holly. And Holly and I happen to live next door to each other, and the kids play together. And she is also focused on enrolling her first 6 loyal customers in order to earn that $150 shopping spree. Now, and then she will focus on going Ruby. So we're going to backtrack. In order for you to go Ruby, you are this red dot, you are this person on this chart. You have 6 loyal customers directly under you, okay? And then each of your distributors, their goal is to have 6 personally enrolled loyal customers. Up here, it says 3 qualified legs and 2,000 in total group volume, okay? So you all may know, and you may not know this, so I'm going to explain it. Group volume and personal bonus volume are two different things. So personal bonus volume, PBV, is the volume that's directly under you from your loyal customers. Okay, so in your case, that would be these 6 customers. That goes all into your personal bonus volume. Now, your group volume is from your whole chart. So when it says 2,000 in total group volume, that's coming from your whole chart. That's coming from Jessica. That's coming from Liz. That's coming from Holly. Oh, backtrack. And that's coming from you. Okay. So your group volume is all of your chart. So in a simple way to break this down is that you want everyone's goal to be to bring in 500 in volume, which personal bonus volume, your personal bonus volume goes into that total group volume, right? So if you're bringing in 500 in personal bonus volume, and Jessica's bringing in 500 in personal bonus volume, and Liz is bringing in 500 in personal volume, and Holly's bringing in 500 in personal bonus volume from their customers individually, 500 times 4 equals 2,000 in group volume. Okay, so that is an example of a perfect picture. Okay, everyone's bringing in their first 6 customers. Everyone's signing, so if we're saying 6 equals 500, plus let's say each of them are running an 80 BV auto ship, which I'll touch on that in a minute. Let's say on average, that would be, let me do the math really quick. Sorry, guys. I did the other math I wanted to share, but not this. So 500 minus 80, let's say for theirs, and then 420 divided by 6 equals 70. So let's say on average, those customers are ordering 70 BV per customer. That's a perfect picture, right? Every customer orders 70 BV, the distributor's running an 80 BV auto ship, that equals 500. It's not always a perfect picture, okay, math-wise. But that being said, I want to break this down a little bit more for you. That's a perfect picture. 500 GB, you and your 3 distributors bring in 500 GB a piece. Boom, you are a Ruby leader, okay? Because you would all be commission qualified. Now let's say, just to make this a little bit trickier, that you've signed your 6 loyal customers. Jessica and Liz, are rocking it and they're bringing in volume. And Holly is not working. She signed up and then she decided, I'm not doing this anymore. So Jessica and Liz are working hard and Holly isn't responding. She's not interested anymore. She doesn't want to do the business. Well, that doesn't mean that you cannot use her still as a qualified leg. She can still be a qualified leg for you. And the way that you do that is you enroll 6 loyal customers directly underneath her using her website, and that will get you your fast start bonus, and that will get her shopping spree, but that will also help get you to that 2,000 in group volume. And so the reason that I'm saying to personally enroll those customers, if someone ever decides they're not working on the business, the reason that I'm telling you to enroll those customers on Holly's website, in this case, is that I want you to get that $150 in fast start bonuses, okay? That's important. You don't want to leave that money on the table. Because when you sign each of these distributors, Jessica, Liz, and Holly, and they enroll their 6 personally enrolled loyal customers on their websites, you get $150 shopping spree. Not shopping spree, sorry, ignore that. You get $150 fast start bonus, okay? They get the $150 shopping spree. And you get a $150 fast start bonus for every distributor who you enroll and they get fast started, okay, with their 6 loyal customers. You get those fast start bonuses in $50 increments, okay? So personal bonus volume versus group volume. Personal bonus volume, I'm just gonna go over this one more time, is personal volume directly under you, volume you've enrolled on your website. Group volume is the group volume of your entire organization. So your personal volume plus the volumes of each of your distributors. So in order to go Ruby, each of your distributors has to have a minimum of 400 in volume, and you have to have a total of 2,000 in group volume. So back to this situation where, let's say Holly's not working. Holly's not working, and let's say you've got 6 customers that you've helped get started on her website. You get that $150 Fast Start bonus, and let's say her leg equates to 400 in volume. Okay, so if she's only at 400 in volume, but let's say Jessica's at 550 and Liz is at 700 from multiple customers, and she's growing her team, and Jessica's going after Ruby as well, and you have, let's say, 300 in personal bonus volume directly under you, 300 plus 400 plus 700 plus 550 equates to 1950, right? No, yes. 700 plus 300 is 1,000 plus 400 plus 500, yeah, 1950. So then you would be short by 50 in volume. So then that volume could come from anywhere on your chart, okay? Because each of these qualified legs, Jessica, Liz, and Holly, all have to be at a minimum of 400 in volume for you to promote to the rank of Ruby, okay? So let me make sure I covered everything I wanted to cover on this. So 500 group volume minimum for each distributor, Jessica, Liz, and Holly. And then you will hear a lot of people talk about 500 group volume or the 500 club. That means having 500 in volume in your organization, okay? So if somebody says 500 club, you're going after the 500 club and you haven't gone Ruby yet, that means 500 in volume that you've enrolled yourself, okay? So you hear the 500 club thrown around quite a bit, and really it's because this is the perfect scenario. If you and your 3 distributors enroll 500 in group volume, or you each have 500 in volume underneath you, then that equals 2,000, and that equals a Ruby promotion, okay? So I want you all to know that if you can understand Ruby, and if you can enroll a customer and enroll a distributor, you can go Ruby and you can go ambassador, because our business is built on Rubies. It's built on this simple chart, which I know my drawing and my writing makes this more complicated, right? But it's built on this simple chart, and you're gonna see how that evolves. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the Emerald chart. So I wanna show you guys that next. So if you are going after a Ruby and you feel overwhelmed just by looking at the Ruby charting and how all of that works, please feel free to excuse yourself. If you are like, let's go, let's talk about Emerald, then stick with us, okay? So Emerald is the 3rd rank in our organization. Average earnings, $939 per month, and that's average. Again, some people make way more, some people make less. Requirements, 3 qualified legs, 2 being Ruby legs, and 5,000 group volume. And then it talks about the earnings and the percentages and all of that. So the big thing about Emerald that somebody pointed out to me when I started was, at Emerald, you get a plus 2% on your 6th level or deeper infinitely, or through level 5 of the next Emerald or higher in your organization. So plus 2% on your 6th level or deeper, which goes to infinity, is pretty cool, okay? Because you're still getting paid at deeper levels in your organization. And when I say deeper levels in your organization, looking at the Emerald chart, level 1 would be here where your Ruby leaders are, and your qualified leg. This would be level 2, and so on and so forth. Now, I don't want you to think that you can't work with someone who's on level 5, 10, 15 in your organization. As your organization builds, there will be people that explode and develop deeper in your organization, and you can always work with them and pull them up. And that's a conversation for later on, you know, when you're going after diamond and double diamond and that sort of a thing. But it's important to understand that there is, you know, an increase in pay at Emerald in general, and that plus 2% on your 6th level or deeper is a benefit to you. So promoting to Emerald is definitely a benefit, and continuing on up the ranks. So with Emerald, the average income being $939. What I want you guys to notice is Emerald, like I said, this our company builds on rubies. So you've got 2 ruby legs. So I'm going to work with the same people I was working with last: Jessica, Liz, and Holly. And so Jessica and Liz are working on going Ruby themselves. So I'm going to pick some names here. So they are enrolling their best friend or their mom or their neighbor or someone they met on Instagram or someone they met on TikTok. And they are going after Ruby just like you did. So when you are going after the rank of Emerald, same rules of Ruby, apply. It's just on a grander scale. So Jessica and Liz both want to go Ruby. So their ultimate goal is that 2,000 in group volume. So you need to have 2,000 in group volume coming from Jessica and 2,000 in group volume coming from Liz. And if you're sticking with the 500 club rule with Holly, if you had 500 coming from Holly, 2,000 plus 2,000, that says 200, plus 500 is 4,500. And you need a total of 5,000 in group volume in order to promote to the rank of Emerald. So that extra 500, or let's say even if Holly only had 400 in group volume, that extra 500 can come from anywhere in your organization, okay? Can come from anywhere. So let's say that Jessica has 2,000 in group volume in her original Ruby, but then let's say Caroline over here is starting to take off and she's got her 3 distributors, and so she's got a whole lot more than 500 in group volume. Let's say she has 1,000 in group volume, which would make Jessica's number rise, correct? So she would be up to 2,500. And then 2,500 plus 2,000 plus 500, 2,500 plus 2,000 is 4,500, plus 500 is 5,000 in group volume, okay? And so you can go through multiple scenarios, right? But the most important thing to remember with your Emerald chart is that you have to end up with 5,000 in group volume. 2,000 has to come from Liz, minimum. 2,000 has to come from Jessica, minimum. They have to both be paid as Ruby. They have to both be a Ruby leader, which means that each of these leaders, each of these lives that are being changed here, have to have a minimum of 400 underneath them. Okay? And that's their group volume. Now, something that is important, and Holly has to be at 400 minimum. Something that is important to note on the Emerald chart is that Jessica and Liz both have to be commission qualified, as do you. Ooh. And you have to be commission qualified. Sorry, guys, I don't know why that box is there. Go away, box. Okay, and you also have to be commission qualified. Oh, come on. There we go. So you and your 2 rubies have to be commission qualified, and you have to have a total of 5,000 in group volume, and your rubies have to be rubies, okay? They have to be at 2,000 in group volume with 400 minimum coming from each of those qualified legs, okay? And Holly, being your qualified leg on your top line, has to be at 400 in group volume. Now, as I mentioned under Ruby, when you have someone who, I gave the example when on the Ruby chart, Holly was not a working distributor. Well, that doesn't mean that I can't place volume there. And so if on Jessica's chart, maybe Ariel's someone who's not working, or maybe Katie's someone who's not working, volume can be placed there or enrolled on their websites in order for Jessica to get to Ruby, for Liz to get to Ruby. Is that a perfect scenario? Absolutely not. We'd love for everyone to be changing their life and working their business. But that doesn't always happen. And so it's important to know that you can place volume within your organization in order to promote yourself to the ranks of Ruby and above much more quickly. Okay, so in a perfect scenario, if every single one of these distributors, Jessica, Liz, Holly, Caroline, Courtney, Ariel, Christine, Katie, and Eve, if they all were in the 500 club and all had 500 GV, and I had 500 personal bonus volume directly under me, that would equal 5,000 in group volume. Okay, that's a perfect scenario. And that's why we talk a lot about the 500 club. Does it always look like that? No. If Jessica and Liz have 2,000 in group volume and Holly only has 400, that equals to 4,400. I would still need an extra 600 to come from somewhere. That could come from, you know, deeper down in Jessica's chart, Liz's chart, or that could come from, you know, my personal bonus volume, the volume that I personally enrolled from my customers directly under me. Where that volume comes from, that leftover volume, basically, in order to get to that 5,000 doesn't matter, as long as each of your boxes, Caroline, Courtney, Ariel, Christine, Katie, and Eve, are at a minimum of 400. Jessica and Liz are commission qualified and are reading as rubies in the system, and Holly has a minimum of 400, okay? But you've got to get to that 5,000 in group volume in order to promote to the rank of Emerald the first time, okay? Okay, so if anyone has questions about Emerald, please put them in the chat and we'll address them at the end. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is Diamond. So if Emerald is overwhelming you and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know, please excuse yourself and go ahead and turn this off. And if you are ready for more and you're ready to talk about Diamond, then we're gonna move to that next. So I'm gonna go ahead and change the chart to Diamond. Okay, and so this Diamond chart, I'm gonna work off of who I was just working with. But first, let's read what's at the top. So average earnings of a Diamond is $2,022 per month. The requirements are 3 qualified legs, 1 being a Ruby, 1 being an Emerald, and 8,000 in total group volume. And then it talks about earnings, 10% on your first 2 levels, 5% on your 3rd, 4th, and 5th level, plus 2% on your 6th and deeper levels, just like Emerald. And then generation bonuses. So Mark talks a lot about when you are going Diamond, how once you hit the rank of Diamond, that's the first of the leadership ranks. And he basically says you get the license to print money. And so you get generation bonuses as you find new leaders. And so that happens once you promote to Diamond. So you have to be a Diamond leader in order to start earning generation bonuses and new distributor leadership bonuses. Okay, so I'll cover those at the end, but I want to go through the Diamond chart and what it takes to get there. Okay, so I'm going to go off of the people that, and I'm going to be zooming in a little bit while I'm writing, the people that I worked with on the last chart. So Jess is my Emerald, Liz is my Ruby, Holly is my qualified leg, and then we'll see if I can remember names, probably not. But I'm going to say Caroline is a Ruby under Jess. I'm going to say Courtney is a Ruby under Jess. Ariel is her qualified leg. And then Liz, I can't remember at all who I had over here. I think I had Eve. I think I had, I'm going to go with new people. I had a Katie, and I'm going to say Amanda. Okay, so then Caroline and Courtney are working hard and they're enrolling distributors, okay? So Caroline's enrolling distributors. So we'll get some new names up here. And Courtney's working hard and she's got a couple of distributors under her. And let's say Courtney's working hard. Courtney enrolls April, and then Courtney says, meh, I've decided this isn't for me. And Jess is working hard on Emerald, and you here are working hard on Diamond, and you guys are like, oh my gosh, I only need 2 more distributors, you know, to fill up my diamond chart. So you, as well as Jess, in this scenario, can place these distributors here. You can enroll distributors and place them under Courtney because it's in your downline. So Jess can place there. Courtney, like I said, enrolled April, but then decided, I'm done with this. So Jess can place 2 distributors here. So Jess does that, let's say, and she enrolls Hillary and Megan. So she has charted, or you, I'm saying you have charted yourself for diamond. You have all of the distributors in place. You've got Jess and Caroline. Jess is your emerald. Caroline is a ruby. Courtney is a ruby. And Liz as a ruby. And they're all commission qualified. So they are either running an 80 BV auto ship, or they've got 150 personal bonus volume from their customers' orders directly under them. Okay, so there are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15 distributors, not including yourself, on a diamond chart. So you need 15 distributors, not including yourself. And I want you to know that 15 times 500 club, if every single box was at 500 club, meaning they all have 500 in volume directly under them or in their organization. No, sorry, scratch that. 500 in volume directly under them. That's the way you need to look at it. 500 times 15, guess what that equals? It equals 7,500. And then if you had 500, well, if you had 500 in personal BV directly under you, 500 plus 7,500 equals 8,000 in group volume. And that's what you need to go diamond. That's a perfect picture, okay? But let's say 15 distributors. Let's say that you have, let's say you've been in this business for a while, and so some of your customers aren't ordering every single month anymore. And you've got your 6 original customers, some of them order, some of them don't. So let's say you've got, you're placing your 80 BV auto ship. And let's say you've got a couple more customers, so you've got a total of 155 BV. Personal BV happening under you the month you're going diamond. And then let's say Jess and Caroline and Courtney and Liz, let's say they all have 155 as well. So 155 times 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do this math so that you guys know. That's 620. Okay. And then you've got the 155 from you. And then let's say each of these other boxes that have to be qualified legs, let's say they just are meeting the minimum 400. So Claudia, Leah, Rachel, April, Hillary, Megan, Eve, Katie, and Amanda, and Holly are all at 400. So that's 400 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 4,000 in group volume, right? So that's 4,000 in group volume plus your 620 plus your 155. So that only equals 4,775. But in this scenario, I want you guys to know there's a couple of problems, right? So not only you're not at the 8,000 yet, but also your emerald, sorry, my 4s are awful. Your emerald and your rubies, so you've got one emerald, Jess, and then your rubies, Caroline, Courtney, and Liz. Jess has to be at 5,000. Remember from the emerald chart, Jess has to be at 5,000 group volume in order to be an emerald leader. Caroline at 2,000 minimum, Courtney at 2,000 minimum, and Liz at 2,000 minimum. So in order for you to promote to the rank of diamond, each of your rubies have to be at 2,000 group volume and your emerald has to be at 5,000 group volume. Now let's say they each get there, okay? Let's say your emerald is reading at 5,000 in group volume. And let's say Liz, your ruby is at 2,000 in group volume. And then Holly, your qualified leg, if she was at 350, she would have to get to 400. You could place volume there, she could be enrolling customers. So you get her to 400, and that equals 7,400. And you need 8,000. So the other 600 in volume has to come from somewhere, okay? So even if everyone is where they need to be in this scenario, and I'm just giving you guys lots of scenarios so you know how to think through and talk through these things and these, you know, the volume and where it has to come from, you would need another 600 in volume from somewhere. So that could come from Caroline's, like that could come from Courtney under Jess, that could come from Liz. You know, let's say under Liz, Eve is gunning for Ruby too, and so she's got a bunch of volume popping up under her. That's great. That extra 600, you know, could end up being under Liz, which would make Liz have 2,600 in group volume, okay? So there's lots of ways, and the reason that I'm showing you guys all of these different ways to do the math is not to confuse you, but to let you know that there are different things that have to be in place in order to promote to each rank, ruby, emerald, and diamond. And there are checks and balances. You want to make sure that all of your leaders, your emerald, your ruby boxes, so Jess, Caroline, Courtney, Liz, and yourself are commission qualified, preferably by running that ADBV auto ship. Okay, so maybe that's Skinny Brew and chocolate greens, whatever it might be. Maybe that's skincare. But you running your ADBV auto ship and your team will be that much more likely to run their ADBV auto ship if they see you doing it and see that you're using the products as well. But we all know being a product of the product is important, and that's the best way to not only be able to share with others, you know, why you love the products and what you're doing with this company, but also to sell the products because people want to know what you're using. But that 8,000 in group volume has to be there, and the 5,000 in group volume has to come from your emerald, 2,000 has to come from your ruby outside of your emerald, and then your top qualified leg, in this case is Holly, she has to be at a minimum of 400, okay? But that 8,000 in total group volume, that's a rule that'll never go away, okay? When you go diamond the first time, you have to have that 8,000 in total group volume. Now, I want to talk really quick about requalifying at diamond after you go diamond. So right now, anyone who goes diamond for the first time this month earns a $15,000 bonus, which I've never seen our company do that bonus before, which is really exciting. So $15,000, why did I write GV by it, you guys? Wow. $15,000 bonus. And the way that these bonuses work, they're called the more bonuses. You promote to diamond in March, and then you validate in the month of April. And this is how the more bonuses of 2020 are working. Now, when you validate in April, you have to still maintain your rank of diamond. So you can do that by making sure all of the boxes are checked and everyone's where they need to be, just like we talked about. You can also do that by requalifying by overall volume. And the reason that I want to tell you about requalifying by overall volume at diamond is because if your goal is just diamond, your goal should be to be continuously growing and helping new leaders go ruby and go emerald, because that's going to get you to the next level. Even if you're not thinking about double diamond, you should always be looking for who your next ruby and emerald leaders are. And so if you're always looking for who your next ruby and emerald leaders are, requalifying at diamond is that much more simple, because you're always helping new people go Ruby or new people going Emerald each month. So in the month of April, you can requalify by Diamond, like I said, by checking all the boxes, doing the same thing with the 8,000 in total group volume minimum. But you can also requalify by a total group volume of 10,000. And this is only for requalifying. This is not for when you go Diamond initially. When you go Diamond initially, you have to have that 8,000 in total group volume, and you have to promote by each person being each qualified leg being at 400 minimum. That's what makes it a qualified leg, is 400 minimum in volume. And then each of your leadership spots, so Emerald and Rubies, have to be commission qualified, okay? But you can requalify by 10,000 in group volume at the rank of Diamond, with 5,000 of that group volume coming from your heaviest leg. So that being said, in this case, that would be Jess. So only 5,000 towards that 10,000 could come from Jess. So let's say Jess has 5,000. Let's say Jess has 5,000. So that leaves 5,000. And Liz last month had 2,000 in group volume, let's say. Well, and Holly, let's say, had 600, 2,600 to 5. You need a total of 5,000 outside of your strongest leg, which in this case is Jess. Okay. So that's a lot of growth outside of Jess's leg. So helping people to go Ruby outside of Jess's leg. So under Liz, let's say, like I said, Eve is working hard. So Eve's got 3 distributors and she's going Ruby. Well, then she's going to end up with 2,000 in group volume, right? And that goes towards that 5,000 outside of Jess, as does Holly. That other 5,000 has to come from outside of Jess. So Holly and Liz is where that 5,000 in group volume has to come from. Okay. Let's say that Jess had, let's say that Jess's team explodes and you need 10,000 in group volume, and Jess's team has exploded and she has like 7,000 in group volume. Guess how much you can count of that 7,000 towards your 10,000? You can only count 5,000 of it, because the other 5,000 has to come from outside your heaviest leg, okay? So you still need 5,000 in group volume to come from your Ruby leg, which is hopefully growing into an Emerald leg, and your qualified leg. And your personal BV also goes towards that 5,000, okay? I know that's confusing, but I wanted to make sure that everyone understood that once you promote to the rank of Diamond, you don't have to be requalifying by each box being absolutely perfect, because you should always be looking to grow your organization and grow new Ruby leaders and grow new Emerald leaders, people that really want to work this business with you, okay? Because in order to earn this more bonus and keep it, you have to validate. You earn in March and then you validate in April. And so then in May, on May 15th, you're paid your first installment of that $15,000 bonus. Okay. And I can't remember what it's paid over. So anyways, 8,000 in group volume to initially go Diamond. That is what's most important here, is that you understand you need 8,000 in group volume. Your qualified legs have to be at a 400 minimum. Gosh, my 4s are really bad, you guys. I'm sorry. And then your leaders, your Emeralds and your Rubies on your chart have to all be commission qualified, as well as you. Okay. All right. I am going to check my notes. Yes. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And okay. So this call designed to totally just look at charting, Ruby, Emerald, Diamond, building to double diamond, triple diamond, presidential diamond, and ambassador diamond builds off of these charts, right? It builds off of a Ruby ultimately and builds into diamond, doubles, triples, and so on. So I just wanted to explain that tonight and make sure that everyone understood what all is really required and what, you know, needs to happen in order for you to promote to the ranks of Ruby, Emerald, and Diamond. Okay. So I'm going to stop the recording